More than 7 years after the world first learned of problems at a blood testing company called Theranos, its founder, Elizabeth Holmes, has been sentenced to over 11 years in prison. The lengthy sentence comes after a blockbuster trial that ended with Holmes being convicted on 4 charges of fraud. The 11-year and 3-month sentence is just the latest sign of how dramatic Holmes's fall from grace has been. Her lawyers had asked for no more than 18 months of house arrest for the one-time billionaire, but prosecutors, who pushed for 15 years, were clear. They wanted to send a message to other would-be corporate fraudsters. By now, Holmes' story is well known. She rose to fame nearly a decade ago as the face of Theranos, the blood testing startup she founded as a college dropout. The company promised it could run dozens of tests with a single drop of blood and a sleek device called the Edison. Holmes was a young founder, with no shortage of influential backers. The company's board was stacked with former government officials, including 2 former secretaries of state. Holmes was invited to the White House. She was on magazine covers and spoke at prestigious events. Pundits compared her to Steve Jobs and other iconic tech leaders. By 2015, Theranos was worth $9 billion and had struck major deals with retailers to offer its signature blood tests. But the highs were short-lived. The same year that Time magazine called her a tech visionary, Wall Street Journal reporter John Carreyrou published his first story on problems with Theranos' technology. He reported that Theranos' Edison machines often malfunctioned, and that most of the company's blood tests actually used traditional lab equipment. Meanwhile, patients and doctors using the tests had reported abnormal and sometimes troubling results. Former employees said the company was taking dangerous shortcuts. Soon, regulators got involved. There were more investigations, and more cracks appeared. Less than a year after Carreyrou's first story, Theranos shut down its labs. By 2018, Holmes had been sanctioned by the SEC, and Theranos had closed its doors for good. Holmes' wealth evaporated, and she was indicted on 11 charges of fraud and conspiracy. Her ex-boyfriend and former business partner, Sunny Balwani, was also charged. Since then, the story of Theranos and Holmes has only gotten bigger. There was a best-selling book, an HBO documentary, multiple podcasts, and a Hulu miniseries dedicated to the saga. A major movie, starring Jennifer Lawrence, is also in the works. But Holmes herself has been almost completely silent. Her trial, where she testified in her own defense, and her sentencing hearing are the only times she's spoken publicly since 2018. At her trial, her lawyers portrayed her as an inexperienced entrepreneur who received bad advice from those around her. During her testimony, Holmes tried to place the blame on Balwani and other former Theranos executives. At her sentencing, she was emotional, but stopped short of claiming responsibility or apologizing for her lies. She said she felt deep pain for her failures. "I regret my failings with every cell of my body," she said. Even after her conviction, Holmes proved she still has a number of influential friends. High-profile Silicon Valley investors, including Theranos' first investor, wrote to the judge in her support. So did New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, who asked for a fair and just sentence for his friend. Ultimately, the letters did little to sway the judge, who said he found the case troubling. He sentenced her to 135 months in prison and 3 years of supervised release. She will also have to pay restitution, though the exact amount has yet to be determined. Holmes is scheduled to surrender to authorities and start her prison sentence in April. Her lawyers are already planning an appeal. As always, hit subscribe to get more of the latest news from Engadget.